Good morning, holiday children and mom. How you doing today? We get to learn about one of my truly favorite, all of you guys know how I feel about my ravens. So we get to talk about ravens. This is lesson 7. Whenever someone mentions a raven, the first thing that comes to my mind is a story. I'm transported back to a child reading Alice in Wonderland and listening to the Mad Hatter ask a riddle. Why is a raven like a writing desk? They never find the answer to their riddle, but maybe that is because they didn't really know what a raven was. Ravens are often mistaken for crows because they have many similarities. They both are very large birds that are completely black, but it is in the fine details that we start noticing their differences. One of the traits that distinguishes the raven from the crow is his call. A raven does not caw. Instead, they make a low croaking sound. The sound is often very flat sounding. Another thing that sets them apart is that they are not very social creatures. They are usually either completely alone or in pairs. Maybe this is because of how confident they are, not afraid to soar through the skies and investigate all they come across. There's an activity break. Look up pictures of a raven and the sound they make, then compare that with crows in appearance and call. The more familiar you become with a raven, the easier it will be to tell it apart from a crow. One clue is its size. Ravens are massive birds with a length of 22 to 27 inches and a wingspan of 45 to 46 or up to 4 feet. Crows are smaller birds, only about 17 inches long, about half the weight, and their wingspan is only about 2.5 feet long. Another way to tell them apart is that a crow tail is more blunt, where a raven tail comes to a point. If you see a black bird flying in the sky, you can look at its neck, tail, and wings to help you determine what it is. The wings of a raven have long primary wing tips that look like fingers, while a crow's wings are more blunt, like their tail. Ravens have thick necks and shabby feathers, but the best way to tell the difference is by listening to its call. Look up and watch as it takes flight. Ravens are graceful birds to watch as they glide through the air with slow flaps from their wings. When they fly, their tails spread out like a fan. Keep watching and you might see a trick. Ravens love to play and can often be found doing flips or playing with objects in the air. Ravens are not picky eaters. They are omnivores, but they do prefer meat. You can often find them near garbage or roadkill looking for their next meal. They can be aggressive and even knock garbage cans over to get their food, which is not a very fun cleanup if you ask my son, who's had to do it many times. They will also eat rodents, eggs, and small birds if they find them. Occasionally, they will eat seeds and grains, but when given the choice, they will pick meat every time. They might even grab a bite from your family picnic if you leave it unattended. Where do they live? Well, you can find ravens in just about any habitat, including forests, beaches, islands, mountains, deserts, grasslands, the tundra, and fields. They are very bold birds. They are not afraid of people. It is not uncommon to see them living in places like farms, rural towns, or maybe an isolated house. You can even occasionally find them in big cities, though this is not as common. Ravens are huge birds, which means they have huge nests. The males gather some supplies by the females, but the females tend to do most of the designing and building. Because they are so big and strong, they can break off sticks up to 3 feet long and let me start that over. Because they are so big and strong, they can break off sticks up to 3 feet long and up to 1 inch thick from living plants and trees to make their nests. Their nests can be up to 5 feet wide and 2 feet deep. That means your parents could probably fit inside of it if they curled their knees up. The nests are built in two parts, forming a large basket with a smaller cup on the inside. They take about 9 days to build and are often reused. Ravens mate for life, and the pair will lay 3 to 7 eggs once a year. These eggs can be very colorful, often sporting green, olive, and blue with splashes of dark green, olive, or purplish brown color on them. They hatch after 20 to 25 days and stay in the nest for another 28 to 50 days. Even though their eggs are pretty, the babies are not so pretty. They are naked, skinny, and have small tufts of grayish down. Their eyes are still closed, and they are very, very clumsy. They fledge when they are about 3 to 5 weeks old and are mature and ready to breed when they are between 2 to 4 years old. They live about 10 to 15 years in the wild. Because of their size, there aren't very many threats to ravens. The main cause of death are hunting, loss of habitat, example, deforestation, which means no more forests, and poison or sickness. This is your activity break. Can you solve the Mad Hatter's riddle? See if you can figure out why a raven is like a writing desk. If you can't figure it out, that is okay. Lewis Carroll, the guy who wrote Alice's Adventures, gave a suggested answer in his 1897 final revision. You can look it up. For fun, look up more riddles to share with your friends and family. Then try to write your own riddle. You can find great inspiration for riddles outdoors in the world around you. Okay, kids, look at your mom. It's time to work in your student notebooks. I've enjoyed telling you all about the raven, and I've learned even more. Have a great rest of your day. I love you. Bye.